Here we are. We're reading from one of my favorite novels and one of the best novels ever written, 1984. I know when Trump became president, everybody went out and got their copies of 1984. Let me move that out. The lighting is horrible, excuse me, but I'm in a different room than usual. Um, and it's just so relevant for today and scary in some ways, but good in ways because we can stop our society from becoming or turn our society back from being this, the society that George Orwell predicted. He might turn the speech into the usual denunciation of traitors and thought criminals, but that was a little too obvious. While to invent a victory at the front or some triumph of overproduction in the ninth 3 year plan might complicate the records too much. What was needed was a piece of pure fantasy. Suddenly there sprang into his mind, ready made as it were, the image of a certain Comrade Ogilvy, who had recently died in battle, in heroic circumstances. There were occasions when Big Brother devoted his order for the day to commemorating some humble rank and file party member whose life and death he held up as an example worthy to be followed. Today, he should commemorate Comrade Ogilvy. It was true that there was no such person as Comrade Ogilvy, but a few lines of print and a couple of faked photographs would soon bring him into existence. Winston thought for a minute, then pulled the speak right toward him and began dictating in Big Brother's familiar style. A style at once military and pedantic, and because of a trick of asking questions and then promptly answering them, what lessons do we learn from this fact, comrades? The lessons which are also one of the fundamental principles of Inkshot, that, etc., etc. Easy to imitate. At the age of 3, Comrade Ogilvy had refused all toys except the drum, a machine gun, and a model helicopter. At 6, a year early, by a special relaxation of the rules, he had joined the spies. At 9, he had been a troop leader. At 11, he had denounced his uncle to the thought police after overhearing a conversation which appeared to him to have criminal tendencies. At 17, he had been a district organizer of the Junior Anti-Sex League. At 19, he had designed a hand grenade which had been adopted by the Ministry of Peace and which at its first trial had killed 31 Eurasian prisoners in one burst. At 23, he had perished in action, pursued by enemy jet planes while flying over the Indian Ocean with important dispatches. He had weighted his body with his machine gun and leapt out of the helicopter into deep water. Dispatches and all. An end, said Big Brother, which it was impossible to contemplate without feelings of envy. Big Brother added a few remarks on the purity and single-mindedness of Comrade Ogilvy's life. He was a total abstainer and a non-smoker, had no recreations except the daily hour in the gymnasium, and had taken a vow of celibacy, believing marriage and the care of a family to be incompatible with a 24-hour-a-day devotion to duty. He had no subjects of conversation except the principles of Inkshot, and no aim in life except the defeat of the Eurasian enemy and the hunting down of spies, saboteurs, thought criminals, and traitors generally. Winston debated with himself whether to award Comrade Ogilvy the Order of Conspicuous Merit, and in the end he decided against it because of the unnecessary cross-referencing that it would entail. Once again he glanced at his rival in the opposite cubicle. Something seemed to tell him with certainty that Tillotson was busy on the same job as himself. There was no way of knowing whose version would finally be adopted, but he felt a profound conviction that it would be his own. Comrade Ogilvy, unimagined an hour ago, was now a fact. It struck him as curious that you could create dead men but not living ones. Comrade Ogilvy, who had never existed in the present, now existed in the past, and when once the act of forgery was forgotten, he would exist just as authentically and upon the same evidence as Charlemagne or Julius Caesar. And this is how you create identities, backstories. You can create whole people. Nobody can challenge you, right? So again, you can give a human being a separate backstory. And people create backstories for themselves nowadays. So it's really difficult to get to know someone. But I use the old method, get to know their family if they let you. Look at their old pictures of when they were children. If they have any, that's more difficult now that we all our pictures are in phones. And get to know their family members and ask what they were like when they were children. And you can get a decent story, a decent backstory. But sometimes family members are kind of don't really know each other. But if you can get their view of the person, sometimes you could put together what's real and what's not. I don't envy people today. It's difficult making friends and getting to know people. So I guess the best way to do it is by their actions now and their principles and what they stand on. So, I mean, that's how it goes. But this is the way you create people. And I hope this has been beneficial to you. And I thank you for your support. Until next time, take care of your mind, take care of your body, and please, 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 please be safe.